Hey y'all, it's Natalie here for Not Just for Boys Kit Club, and today I'm using my Brilliance Limitless Kiss from September 2022 to make a spooky Halloween layout because it is almost October and it is time to scrap all things Halloween. So I am using this background paper. It is from 49 Market and it is called Speckled. And I've pulled out this striped paper. It's the other side of the Simple Vintage Lakeside. Love this paper. I think about using that cardstock. It's from my past cardstock add-on, but I'm actually not going to use the orange one. I'm just going to use that lime green one called Parakeet, and it's from this month's Limitless kit as well. So I have these 4 photos of my sons and myself and some Halloween goodies and decor that we did for the day before Halloween last year. I have these awesome dies from Tim Holtz. They're called crochet, and they're like crochet doilies, and they have a large size and a big size, a small size. I can't talk today. Sorry, y'all. They have a small and large of the same design, and I thought they kind of looked spooky, like a little bit like spider webs. So I just used those to cut out some black cardstock. So now I am backing my photos with white cardstock, and then I'm going to go through again and back them with black as well. So I'm going to double matte them. I won't make you watch all of that because that's a little boring, but they're all 2x3 photos, and I'm going to double matte them here to make them pop off of the page really well. So this Limitless kit is so versatile, and so it kind of had a little underlying back to school theme, which was fabulous because it matched my back to school photos of my boys, but I was feeling spooky, and so I thought, I really like that black and white stripe, and that just kind of went from there with making it Halloweeny. I really like to use lime green in a lot of my Halloween, so I thought let's embrace it. And so the orange comes from mostly just from the photos. I'll add a little tiny bit in here, but for my stash, but I'm just kind of figuring out how I would like to group those photos together. And then I'm going to rip a strip of the green Parakeet cardstock, and I'm going to rip the top, and then I'm going to go through and rip a little strip off the other side so I can, have just rough edges. And then I'm going to cut it into little banner edges. So it obviously needs to be smaller than the 12x12 background paper. So I'm just kind of figuring out how I want everything to look. And so I was looking to see how those crochet bits would look. But now I'm going to make the banner edges, and I made them the wrong direction. So I have to fix that. There we go. But I'm just making sure that my 4 photos will fit. I don't want to cut it too short. So I'm just seeing where I need to make the middle part of the other end of my little banner bit there. Cut it in the right direction this time. And I'm liking it. And I like the rough edges, and it looks really cool and wonky and distressed, which is perfect. The background paper from 49th and Market has a really distressed feel to it, and so I'm just going to add to that. So I'm just figuring out how I want those. I think I decide here, I like the look of the crochet bits with the white behind them. It really helps them pop off the page. So I'm going to put them behind the striped paper. So I cut down the striped paper as well. I'm just figuring out how wide it needs to be to allow the edges of the background paper to peek through. So I just snip off a little bit of that right here. And I love that black and white, really bold stripe mixed with the plain cardstock. And so there you can kind of see a feel of where I'm going with this idea. Loving how that looks, really loving it. What are we going to do next? You'll see me put everything back on and take it off and put it back on, but I just want to make sure that everything looks good when I'm doing every step of the layout. So I have this little tag. It's from my stash, and it's got this really cool cutout in the middle, and it has a little spider on the end. So, I use the kit, but then I have a few Halloween items. So just throwing in a very few Halloween items from my stash made this a spooky page. So I have those really old spider stickers, and then some thickers from last year. So now I'm going to make an attempt to make sure that the background kind of goes with the foreground of the page. So you can't really see it because they're very small sprinkles, but I am just using my black ink, making it into watercolor, and doing really fine splatters all over the page, kind of concentrating them around where they'll peek out from behind that rectangle, as well as go down the middle of the page and up to the top middle of the page. And I decided I needed a little bit more. So I kind of make bigger splatters by holding my paintbrush higher off the page. Yeah, and so I'm loving how that looks. So that adds the black to the background paper, which will help it coordinate and mesh with the black that I include elsewhere on the page. So I let that dry. It doesn't take very long. And now I'm going to start building the page. I'm going to rough up the edges of this paper and ink it up. I'm going to do the same to the green paper, like the edges that I cut, I'll rough them up with the same tool. A page distresser, edge distresser, you can use sandpaper, you can use the edge of your scissors. I just love to do that. I think it adds texture. I always love a distressed look to a page, so I recommend edge distresser for sure. I'm going to use it here or just on the ends where I cut it with scissors to give that texture, and then I'm going to really ink it up well and give it lots of distressed edges here. Oh, and I'm distressing the edges of the black cardstock that I put around the double mat of my photos to just give them a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to tape everything down. Off screen, I'm going to fight with my ATG gun. The tape it was coming off the roll a little bit, but that's okay. We cut that out. Always something. So I put these down just directly onto the page, but I am going to use some foam dots to pop up the photos and like that tag right there to give additional dimension to the page. Funny enough, I had to like message my friends and be like, hey, do you guys remember coming over the day before Halloween? Like, these are your cookies. I know these are your cookies, but like, I don't remember this. Do you remember this? And they were like, we don't remember this. I'm like, glad we all had such a great time. But we have photos of it. Oh man. And they're cute photos. I haven't done any of my Halloween scrapping from last year, so you will see a lot of that popping up here soon. I am using my Nuvo adhesive, which you can also buy in the store, the Not Just for Boys Kit Club store. I'm using that to stick down the doilies, which I probably should have done before I laid down the paper. It would have been easier, but that's okay. So my title is going to say Charspookerie because we have a charcuterie board there, but it's spooky because there's pumpkins and skeletons. So I'm using the Doodlebug alphas that came in the Limitless kit this month, and I'm going to distress them. So I just like had some texture butter laying right there in orange. And so I wanted to add a little bit more orange that was not just in the photos, something on the page. So I'm just dabbing my finger in there and kind of just like roughly putting it on the alphas, right? And so I don't want the alphas to get stuck down to that block because of the wet stuff. So I move it to the other side of the block while they dry. And then I kind of like wipe up the texture paste off of the block because I don't want it to stick around. And then I'm going to take that black ink pad I used to distress my edges, and it has a little texture to the pad. And so after it dries with the orange, I'm going to go in and just kind of pounce the little ink pad on top of the letters. So then you'll see a little bit of the white shining through, a little bit of the orange, and then some of the black. So we have like our traditional Halloween colors. But that just all came from like some plain white alphas from the kit. So I encourage you to look at your kit. If you want to make it a specific theme that maybe it doesn't already have a feel, like just add a few things from your stash or add in just a single other color, and it can really change up the feel of your kit and give you a whole new kind of theme of a page. I'm going to link down below to the blog. I will be on the blog today for Not Just for Boys Kit Club. There you can see the alphas. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I am going to add extra Nuvo adhesive behind them because doing all that, of course, they kind of lost their sticky. I'll also link down below to the store because you definitely need to grab this kit before it's gone. It's literally going to be gone in a couple days, I think, because we're about to reveal a new kit for October, which is exciting. So I'm just using those, some of my foam dots to pop up the tag, and then those two photos I won't have to pop up because they're already popped up being on the tag. So I just pop up the other two photos so that they will match the level, be on a level playing field with the other two photos, right? And yeah, I had a lot of fun creating this layout. I had the idea in my head, I just hadn't had like a minute to like do it. So I'm glad that I got it done. And I made sure to kind of like make my photos print really vibrant so that would give me the orange color to kind of bring out the Halloween-y feel with the green and the black. So I'm going to start sticking down the alphas. Oh, nope. I go through my stash and I'm like, okay, I have some Halloween stamps. Let's do some stamping down at the bottom of the page to kind of give it a little bit more of a Halloween feel. So I don't really add in a lot of embellishments. I just grab like a couple of Halloween stickers from my stash, which I feel like most people who celebrate Halloween probably have just like a couple stickers here and there, right? So I'm going to stick down the title first, and it kind of is going to go down in like a little bit of like a pyramid or a diamond. It's going to like start wide and go down really in a diamond shape towards the bottom. And remember, I already put those splatters kind of in that same shape. So now I'm going to build. And so I like to take my stamps, and as long as they're clean, go ahead and just lay them down where I want them to be on the page. So it kind of like gives me a feel for like what everything's going to look like. So I'm just going to do a little collage of like some stamped words. I went and found like a star stamp, a line of star stamps, because I like to make sure that I don't have too many words, because, you know, your eye needs a place to rest. When you have too many words, it's like, there's a lot going on this page. So like I'll put the title, and then I'll put like a phrase, and then I'll put like an image, and then I'll put another phrase, and then I'll put an image and another phrase. So it kind of gives a balance and gives your eye a place to rest and light. So I know it is a little scary sometimes, like stamping directly onto your background, but I just told myself, like, take your time, be careful. You can see I have that scratch paper down there that I kind of like practiced on first, but also just know that if you mess it up, you can always cover it up. Like you could, if I mess up that stamp, I could just like take a piece of cardstock and stamp on it and make it look like a label, and like make it look like it was supposed to have been there, you know, and nothing is unfixable, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, yeah, stamping on your background can be scary, and it definitely was scary to me when I first started stamping, but since I've become more comfortable with stamping, I'm cool with it. But again, I make mistakes too, but you just got to know, like, you can always think around it. Cover it up with a sticker, cover it up with a label that has the same stamp on it, stamped properly, you know, like, don't be scared to do it, because I know a lot of people say they have stamps in their stash that they don't use, and I love to stamp. And I absolutely adore how this turned out. I switched out the skull that I was thinking, because I just like the look of the black and white, and that was just from a little sticker sheet that I have. And there are some Halloween sticker sheets in the Not Just for Boys Kit Club store, which is linked down below. But I just picked a couple of stamps that kind of pertain to like eating or drinking, which was kind of funny. And I had one that said eat, drink, and be scary, but then I decided I had a sticker that said that, and I only wanted to use that phrase once on the page. So I decided to go with the sticker, which you'll see me put on later. I love those little stickers with like the spider webs. So I added that in the little space where it fit, and then kind of the spider brings it down to a point of a diamond. And then I'm going to finish it out with some stamps. There were some wonky stars on these stamp sheets. So there was like an open star. So I stick that down. And then on the other stamp sheet, there was like a couple of other like solid stars. So a tip for when you stamp things like that, just kind of rotate it around. Once you stamp one star, just turn your block a little bit and stamp it in a different direction, so it gives variety and it doesn't look too like patterned. It looks a little more organic onto your page. And so I go in and I think, well, I probably should add some stamping at the top too, to just kind of balance out my layout. And so I just add some of the smaller stars up at the top, and I really love how that turns out. I think I put 5. Another rule is, not a rule, but like tip is adding an odd number of things. So 5 stars worked really well. I like to do an odd number of things. I feel like it's visually pleasing to the eye. So I'm just going to add in a few other embellishments. Another one of those webs on the other end of the photo strip, since I have that big black tag kind of balancing out to balance that out. And then lastly, I'm going to use there I am with the sticker sheet. I like this green sticker, but since it's going on the green paper, I decide that I want to put a black border around it. So I just stick it down to some of the black cardstock that I used to cut the doilies, and like fussy cut around it, and boom, there we go. I pop it up with some foam on one side, and it's like a little pre-title, I guess you could say, and add a couple more stickers that are like the bottles. And then I'm going to use the finishing touches from the store, the clear ones, and they don't look like much really at first, but they just give like such a ethereal, like fun finishing touch to the page. Like, they're really so aptly named. I love these little bubbles, or they really just make everything look amazing. And if you put them onto ink, like something you've stamped, they will take on the color of the ink that you glue them down to. At least in my experience, they do. So, but I'm just sticking them around the page to be what they are, like clear. And that glue, the Nuvo adhesive, dries clear, so it works perfectly. So that's it, y'all. Check out my links down below and check out the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. They are so amazing at making kits, and they have lots of fun stuff in their store outside of the kits as well. So check those out, and thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Brilliance Limitless kit for September 2022 from Not Just for Boys Kit Club. Bye, y'all.